All right, welcome back to a brand new episode of Trampling Fiction. It's going to be episode number lucky 37. All right, so I was wondering how to follow up the last episode, basically, right? The last episode was where I almost predicted my own death at the age of 36, and that was a very traumatic experience, and it was kind of a little traumatic to relive it, even though it's been a while since that happened. But I wanted to do something light after that, just to lighten the mood. But in reality, it's like, well, what I'm about to talk about isn't very light. It's actually pretty dark and kind of depressing in a lot of ways. So I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl performance by Bad Bunny. Now, a lot of people have talked about it, but I'm going to talk about stuff that nobody's talked about at all about it. And it's either because people don't really know this aspect about the elites and their agendas and how they actually promote their agenda. They put it on display in your face what they're going to do before they do it, right? It's, you'd have to fully understand it, you'd have to read the book The Biggest Secret by David Icke, right? In that book, he basically breaks down in very meticulous detail all of the child pedophile rings of the elites around the world, how they're all involved in satanic rituals and child sacrifice. Do you think it's a coincidence that when the Biden administration was in charge, over 500,000 immigrant children's, like refugee immigrant children's, have gone missing? 500,000. Could you imagine if 500,000 kids went missing under the Trump administration? People would be going ape shit, right? But this happened under the Biden administration. And I'm sure that most of those kids just conveniently flowed into different pedophile rings, different types of abuse structures, different types of satanic underground, like they're basically probably doing all kinds of pedophile movies, torture movies, and ultimately snuff movies, right? I hate to think how many actual children this has happened to in the last just four or 5 years alone, right? Now, sure, a lot of them are probably okay, and they're in safe places and whatnot. They just don't know where they are. But I guarantee there is a large enough amount of them that have been sucked into these other horrific fucking places and instruments of basically torture and murder and all this other shit that, it is a massive national tragedy. And it's the whole reason why open borders never should have been allowed, right? This is one of the reasons. It encourages trafficking, child trafficking, sexual trafficking, even probably actual slave labor. There's probably people in America that are people's fucking slaves right now. And I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about people in America who are minorities that come from third world countries where slavery is still a thing, like Somalia, like some of these African countries, Libya, maybe some of the ones in the Middle East, right, where they actually, they have actual slaves that they've captured when ISIS basically was going all around and destroying countries and communities all over the Middle East. They took a lot of those people and they are now actual physical slaves performing slave labor. So you would think, right, that people, if they actually cared, they would have cared about that. But they don't. They have selective outrage. But back to the Super Bowl and the Bad Bunny thing, right? In the book, David Icke, he breaks down all of this, right? He breaks it down methodically. Now, one of the things the elites like to do, they like to foreshadow what their plans are. They like to show you. You got to understand, these people, they control Hollywood. They control corporations, massive corporations, right? They control politicians. They can control everything to a degree where whatever they want to happen, they can make it happen. And they can make it happen in sync around the entire world. And that's what you're seeing right now, right? This whole influx of refugees, and that's what the whole the whole Bad Bunny show, right, had two or three intentions that I saw, right. First intention, to straight up middle finger fuck you to Americans, all Americans, black, white, even Hispanic Americans, right? It's a fuck you to them as well, because what they're showing in that is that basically, oh, you know what? Everybody from all over the world can just flood right into America. Everybody, everybody has the right to just flood into America and just take advantage of everything America has to offer. You don't need borders, legal immigration. You know, they're basically advocating for the same, like, I want to say convoys, but not, they weren't called convoys. Remember, they had the I can't even remember what they're called, but they would move a whole massive group of people all at once, right? And then they'd say, oh, they're all escaping, blah, blah, blah. And it's all bullshit, because in reality, they could stop at the next safe country, and that's how actual asylum really works. So coming all the way to America, it basically voids out the whole concept of, oh, I'm just trying to escape from violence or persecution. It's like, no, you're not. These are economic migrants that are coming to America for the welfare, for all the free shit that the Democrats were basically giving them, right? So the Super Bowl show, part of it was them showing you the plan, and they're already like halfway through this plan, right? So it's not like they're showing you something that is about to happen. It's already been happening, but they're trying to show you that it's going to keep happening. It's actually going to get worse, and it's a global thing. It's happening to every single country, right? On purpose. So the other part of it, right? Symbolically, there was a reason why, if you were there in the crowd, that you could not see what was going on in the field, right? Again, this is part of the game they play, right? Because they're hiding, like, all those people are there specifically in those like grass outfits to hide what they were doing from the crowd. So the people in the crowd, they can't see, and they're standing there all, they don't understand Spanish, right? So they don't understand what the fuck he's saying, right? And they can't see what they're doing, right? So, and all they hear is like a dun 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 dun, and then you see the people in the crowd are all standing around looking confused, right? That was on purpose. That was the plan. The whole plan is to have a whole stadium of people standing around going, oh, what is happening? What is happening? And the powers that be, right? The people that are doing this, that are literally replacing your culture with all of these hundreds of thousands of millions of people from third world countries, they are getting a huge boner out of the fact that you're standing there and you don't know what's happening. Like, they're feeding off that energy, right? They're like a certain way, like energy vultures in a way, right? And they're feeding off the mischief of, we're doing something to you, we're hiding it from you, but we're doing it right in your face. It's right in front of you, but you don't know what's happening. And you're all confused, and it's like it's a microcosm, right, of the bigger thing of how people are in the dark. They don't know what's going on. The media and the governments and the corporations are all kind of conspiring against them, and the people that are being conspired against are, for the most part, in the dark. They don't understand what's happening. They don't. And if you're like my family and stuff, you don't believe that people are that evil, right? You can't believe that there could be.
Hey, Rich.
Oh, yeah, one sec. All right, here we are, still continuing. Back again, was interrupted there rudely, and speak of the devil, right? As I just speak of family, even people in my family, they don't understand. One of my family members comes, right? So you got to think like, right? Is that like how the universe works sometimes, right? Or is it just a coincidence, right? Hard to know for sure, but Point being, right, they're doing a massive fraud against not just the American people, against all the people of Western countries, Canada, America, Britain, you could go on and on, Australia, even France, Germany, Sweden, Finland. All these countries, right, are having grave injustices done against them right now, and it's all being done by one group of people with one purpose, with one agenda. And they're accomplishing that agenda, but while they're doing it, they're flaunting it in your face. And that's what the Super Bowl, this is the whole point of the Super Bowl, was to show you that we're flooding your country, with people from all different nations, right? We're destroying your culture. We're diluting your beliefs and your morals and your values and your standards. We're greatly lowering the standards of your country by bringing in third world people, and that's what the plan, right? Like, that's on a purpose, because the people in these countries have got too accustomed to have high standards for living, high standards for employment, high standards for everything, right? To the point where the people that are running the corporations are so greedy, they're like, well, this is unsustainable for us. We're not making massive profits now because the standards are too high. We need to bring in people that are going to lower the standards of this country. And that's basically what they're doing, because they bring in hundreds of thousands of people who are used to working for a couple dollars a month, right, in their country. And now they're getting paid like thousands of dollars a month. They're going to do whatever the fuck they're told, no matter what. Oh, you're telling me to work 100 hours a week? Yes, sir. I'll work 100 hours a week, because basically they don't ever want to go back to their old life in their old country, right? And so now when you flood that many people into a country that they all have that mentality, well, guess what? Lowers the standards of everything for everybody, and also massively raises inflation and all this other stuff, right? Part of the whole New World Order was to turn North America into a third world country, and I've been saying that for like over 10 years now, right? The Great Replacement Theory, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's like they're actually broadcasting it right on the Super Bowl during halftime. That's what the fucking Great Replacement Theory looks like in real time, right in front of your eyes. How is it a conspiracy when they're making a mocking, like the whole show was a mockery, right? They're mocking the fact, they're stealing your country, they're taking your wealth, they're going to outbreed you, and they're going to take everything over, and they're doing it right in your face and giving you a big middle finger right in America's game, right? America's halftime show, and the whole show is in a language Americans can't understand. And then when they actually see the lyrics, they realize the whole lyrics were mostly all pornographic shit, right? Stuff that if it was in English, it wouldn't have even ever been allowed. They would have probably shut it off live on air if it was in English, right? Imagine an English artist going up there and singing those lyrics. They wouldn't allow it, right? So how does it do any favors to bring a Spanish person in that comes in and sings like such degrading lyrics when there's obviously children watching, right? The other part of it that I wanted to mention too, like it's like I mentioned, and I've read a few times, it's like a humiliation ritual, but it's also they're prophesizing what is going to happen. They're telling you this is what is going to happen basically to you and your country. And you don't have any say in it. And you will sit there and shut up and you will take it. And you know what? Most people will. That's the sad part. Most people in these countries will just sit there and shut up and take it, because they're all so afraid of losing everything already, especially after the whole COVID thing. And what people don't realize is, guess what? The people who did that whole COVID pandemic, right, and all the lockdowns, the Dr. Fauci's and all these other people that basically literally, the Trudeaus and all the other governments in the world that did illegal lockdowns, illegal mandatory vaccinations, right, illegal social distancing, illegal, all of it was deemed illegal, at least in Canada, right? That's where I am. So all this illegal stuff that these people did, right? These are the same people that actually planned the Super Bowl ad. This is the part that people don't get. There's a direct connection between all the people that did COVID and all the people involved in the Super Bowl ad, right? If you want to look deeper, go back to CERN. Remember CERN, the Hadron Collider, right? The atom smasher that's supposed to open up a new portal to another world, right? Why do you think that is? So go back and watch the CERN, the opening ceremony for that. Go back and watch it. All it is a satanic ritual. So, and the same people that did CERN opening ceremony, they're the ones that did the Super Bowl halftime. They're the ones that did the COVID pandemic. Are you starting to see yet? Are you starting to see what's happening and why it's happening, right? Now, the other thing too about the halftime show that people don't realize, no one has mentioned this next part, nobody. The actual logo for the Super Bowl was a gay rainbow flag. I have not seen a single person mention this anywhere, right? It's literally like a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, I think, at San Francisco, right? But they paint it in a way that it literally looks like a rainbow flag. And that's not a coincidence either. You know, when they did it in just a subtle enough way that I have not seen a single person even mention it. I think like literally this is how it's either one of two things. Either people were so shocked by the halftime show that they didn't even think about the gay logo that was literally posted all over the screen, all over, right at midfield. You had the gay logo. You had it on players' jerseys. Every player had the gay flag on their jersey. Not one mention of it by anybody. And that's one of the reasons I had to make this video. I'm like, I didn't want to make a video about this topic because so many people did, but not one person has mentioned this. And that's why, again, they had the Bad Bunny, right? That's why they had men on stage gyrating with each other like a bunch of, whatever they are, right? And then he's grabbing his dick every fucking 5 seconds. It's like, dude, you got a small dick. We understand it. You don't have to be so insecure about, oh, where's my penis? Did I lose it? Oh, you lost it. He's like, is that sock? Are people seeing the sock? That I got stuff down there? I got to keep grabbing it. It's like, yeah, like you're pathetic, man. Like you are pathetic, degenerate. You lie and you behave that way, and then you act, oh, fuck America, fuck white Americans and all this bullshit. Well, you know what? Fuck you. You're going to get the fucks pretty soon, I think, right? So you went and you deleted all your social media because it got a little bit too real. Yeah, when you work for the devil and actual Satan, things get a little spicy, right? So I wanted to point that out. Nobody else mentioned those things, but that's what it was. It was a humiliation ritual, but also to show you this is what we're doing to you. Make it clear this is what we're doing to you, and there's nothing you're going to do to stop us, right? We already let in 20 million people, right? And we're going to keep letting in more in some way, shape, or form, and there might be ways where they're secretly still trying to bring people in that the Trump administration doesn't know about, right? I wouldn't doubt it. So, but anyways, I thought I'd point that out. Like, you know, unfortunately, it's getting to the point where I think what you're going to see in the future is you're going to see, for every event like this, you're going to see like a Turning Point USA counter event, because it's clear now that the people running America, like I'm talking about the media still, talking about the corporations still, talking about whoever basically forced them to do this halftime show, because you have to go all the way to the top, but once you get to the very top, you will see who the ringleader is. Whoever ordered that show, it wasn't Roger Goodell, the commissioner. He is a puppet, right? That's why you saw it shows him during the halftime show. He's looking in the crowd and he's like, You can tell he's like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do? Because it's like, yeah, you are a traitor. You are a traitor to Americans. You look into that crowd, and all those people, maybe one day, they might be coming to burn you at a fucking stake or something like that, because you are a traitor, right? You had the look of scared traitor in your eyes, and for good reason, because that's what you are. All right, later.